Hey guys, welcome to another tutorial. Today's video won't be a fly tying Tuesday video like I'd do like a streamer or something like that. I had some company yesterday, so I didn't want to, intrude by making a video while they were here. So I figured I'll just make one today. I have the day off. Today's video isn't going to be like a streamer or a big game changer like fly or anything like that. I'm actually going to show you guys how I make my ice jigs. Main reason is because I'm not going to be making ice jigs anymore. It's just really not worth your time for the money you get out of it, honestly. Unless you sold your ice jigs for $3.50 up, you're not really gonna make money off of it too easily. Anyways, so I make these flies, or jigs I call candy canes and foxies. Today I will show you the candy cane. The foxy is kind of something of my own. It's an original. I might get into that. That's just kind of one of my secret weapons. I do make it for a few guys. I actually make a lot of them that go for salmon and steelhead, and it's the exact same hook. They hold up just fine. It's a 3x wire, which definitely doesn't lose like any of your hook sets on panfish. Some people think you need to go with the lightest wire possible, and like Fiskas, for example, are a good ice jig that people like to use. They're roughly like $3. But they're so light a wire that there's been multiple circumstances that I've actually seen and heard where the hook pops off from the jig. Now granted, I don't know if that's the heat intensity from the tungsten hitting that hook and making it a weak spot, or if it's just too light a wire. These are not going to bend out. One of my buddies, he uses them for steelhead. He probably got, it looked like a 12, 15 plus pound, steelhead off one just fine. I have multiple people I've sold them to that use them up in Canada, and they love them up there for cohos. But down here, we tend to use them for crappie, bluegill, perch, stuff of that nature. You're obviously going to catch bass on them from time to time. Those little junk eaters love everything. But I'll show you that hook just one more time real quick. It's a Mustad. It's a nymph style fly. It's a 3x wire. And then what I do to match that is we use a slotted tungsten bead. I believe these are 3.5 millimeter. I like them. You get that nice quick fall rate. It's in between the 3 and the 4. But since you're not putting paint or epoxy over the bead, it's actually going to be small as, or smaller than most of your 3 millimeter size tungsten jigs, because they got so much paint and coating over it, where this one's a little bit slimmer profile that I like. And then all you gotta do, put your hook in through that little eye on top, and you got the slot in the back, so you don't have to bend your shank at all or anything, because a lot of those tungsten beads are just hole on each side and they won't go around the bend too easily. But if you got one of these slotted beads, I don't know if I'll be able to get that on camera or not, but there's actually a slit in the bead in the back, so it gives it some free roaming move. And all you got to do here is your base thread. This one, I like this one for crappie. I call it the Joker. It's a purple and Chartreuse variation of the candy cane. But you're going to notice that this is going to look pretty darn close to just a midge fly. Something you would be maybe nymphing for trout or something like that in a river. It's almost the same concept. So what I like to do is in the slot, I don't know if you can see it on camera, but I'm actually going to be rotating this bead. I have it in there in the slot, so I'll bunch it up inside there to where it's not going to move anymore. And right there it stops moving. Tie off your thread a little bit. Snip that off. I'm actually going to make a neater pile today since I'm working at the kitchen table. Figured it might be better lighting out here, so I'll give it a try. And what we're going to do here, there's a lot of thread work. So what I do is I work my way up and down the shank, but I stop about 1 millimeter from where I get to every time here. So it's going to get skinnier and skinnier this way, but bulkier this way. Give it some profile, make it have a kind of like a solid grub profile to it, something like using a spike or a bee moth or a mousy. You can also put tails on these if you are going to put a tail. That's why I do on my Foxies. It's just a little bit different style. I highly recommend that you use marabou. I've had great presentation with the marabou. You actually, if you leave it up to about a centimeter and a half long, it's almost going to turn into like a straight little worm almost, and you can just really play with it, and it wiggles there a lot in the water, or if you got a current, kind of moves on its own. We'll just speed up here. This is going to be a very quick video. I really do like these flies a lot. Another thing you can do, I'm not going to do them on these, but Gulff, this is what we're going to be coating the whole fly with. No, I'll just wait until I get to the end for that. There's another Gulff product you can use if you want to get a little fancier with it. Let's get this built up here. I'll work my way down the shank a little bit. Next we're going to do, so I don't even need this on the bobbin, I'll just cut a little bit off. And this is like on my ice flies, I don't use anything special for thread. Yeah, this is a Uni Thread here, the Chartreuse, but I can't really find a purple that I liked. So I just went to like a Joann Fabrics. I don't really remember where I got it. But you can easily use other threads. Now, I only would recommend them for like adding like a rib style or a pattern to it. Because if you bulk it up, this stuff is actually really thick. But it's just like a generic $2, I don't even know how much is on here, 300 yards, and this is gonna last me probably my lifetime, because I cut off 6 inches and I'm not gonna use 6 inches. I just like have playroom. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna get this as close as we can to the point where the Chartreuse stops on the bend of the hook. I'm gonna wrap over it to cover up that purple. Make that body a little bit fatter again. Actually, we'll give it a little whip finish here, just so we know it's not going to move anywhere. I'll just go around one time, so I don't really need to finish it off quite yet. What I like to do is I would start making wraps around. I would probably make 5 to 7 wraps, and I would wrap it real tight to give it like a purple tip to the end there. It's going to kind of stand out. One more. And then here I will space them out just a little bit. And like I said, this is super simple. You can make them in just a couple minutes a piece once you get the hang of it. I like to make about 3 big wraps up top here, stack them over the top of each other. Then we're going to take our Chartreuse again. We're going to tighten that purple down. About 3 wraps around is all you need. You're just working with thread here, literally. You get, 6, 7 different colors of thread. You can make a lot of different variations of this. Essentially, all you're going to need for this is a cheap vise. Like I've mentioned in other videos, we have, I think they're $8 or $9 vices now at the shop. That's the Complete Fisherman in Fremont, Indiana, if you're wondering. And then we got threads, which roughly range from like $3 to $4 a piece. You're gonna need a bobbin, a threader, and a pair of scissors, and that's about it for this. So you're looking at like $20 in the vise and the tools used, probably another, I'd say 25 to 30 in thread. Definitely go Gulff. A lot of people like loom. I don't. I used it in the past. It is very strong. It's going to stand like a long-lasting longevity on it, but it's tacky. So what I mean by that is, like, after you dry it, even you could let it sit. I have like a blacklight oven at work that I've made. You can let it sit in there for 6 hours and it's still going to be tacky. It's going to be hardened, but everything's going to stick to it. So like I have these little containers that stack on each other. I like to throw my jigs in there because sometimes I'm making them 50, 60 at a time, and you know, you gotta have somewhere to put them. And I'd pull them out, and I noticed they were all in one clump, and I had to break them apart, and I didn't like that at all. The Gulff, isn't nearly as tacky. There might be just a hint, like 10% of what the loon has, but they don't stick together. You're not gonna have, like, I do a lot of fly tying. I sit them out on the table. You know, I'm not gonna have my feathers sticking to them or anything. It's nice. Anyways, back to the jig. We're just gonna finish it off now. About 3 to 4 wraps is all you need with this. And then this is where we use the Gulff. Now, what I like to do is I want it thicker at the head. I angle this down, work with it a little bit easier. And now just apply your UV resin. We're going to coat this thing completely around. You don't need to coat the bead. I usually don't. There's not much of a point to it. And the Chartreuse I use is also fluorescent too. It's got a high UV content, so when that, like, if you want it as like open water jig, or I actually throw these a lot on casting bubbles for gills in the spring, when that sunlight hits it, it's going to show that brightness, and it's going to be hard to resist. Squeaky little vise. And after you get that coated nice and how you want it to, you're literally finished. This jig, by the time you're done shining with the black light and it's hardened, it is ready to fish. You don't have to wait a curing time. This is literally it. These, I lose my jigs before they fall apart. This UV is so freaking strong that I don't see why you couldn't get 500 plus fish off of one of these. I definitely have a few that I've caught several hundred fish on that I still have. That's just my choice of retying my line a lot, especially if you get a bass. It frays up your ice line, especially when you're using 1 and 2 pound test. But let's see if I can get it on here and show you up close. This is your ice jig. Like I said, it's like a midge-style fly. I call them the candy canes personally. This is, something I kind of made up. But I also have a foxy variation. I might as well show you those too if I'm not going to make them. No sense of hoarding it all for myself. Somebody will figure it out eventually. It's nothing too special, but very simple fly or jig, however you want to use it. I use them both ways. Like I said, that one, because I was talking so much and explaining things, yeah, it took me about probably 12-15 minutes to make or so. But if I'm really just sitting here, you know, jamming out to music, drinking some coffee, or if later on in the evening might be drinking some moonshine or some vodka or something of that nature. But you can pound these out and have a good time. I mean, I've probably tied 200 in a day before, easily. I mean, it's tedious and not too fun, but when you're jamming out, got some buddies to hang out with or whatever, you got tying friends, it's, you know, it's a good time. These jigs are universal as all get out. Like I said, I have people using them for cohos, salmon. I go to a lot of streams and creeks a lot, and they're great for the bluegill there. Trout love them. Like I said, it's more like a nymphing style fly. You'd actually use like a strike indicator, maybe a fly or a nymph, just, you know, a few feet below that. And then depending on how deep a holes you're fishing, you would have this, you know, almost nicking the bottom with this tungsten. And I mean, they're easy to make. It's cheap. You can't go wrong. But I appreciate it, guys. Thanks for watching another video. Have at it on making these jigs. Like I said, I'm done making them for, you know, the public. Of course, my, you know, real close friends and my family, I would just make them for and give them to them for free, because I got a lot of materials now to do with it. But like I said, thanks for watching. I'll see you on maybe an episode later today. Maybe tomorrow if I publish it then. It depends. I really want to go out and try to do some fly fishing today, but it is, you know, snowing halfway decent right now. It's pretty cold. So I'll have to gear up pretty tight. I might get around to it, I might not. But if I do, you will see another video. If I don't, you'll see me next week on an episode of Fly Tying Tuesday. Thanks for watching. You guys have a good one.
Welcome back. Gonna do some fly fishing. I got a little nymph set up here. So let's see. I'll start with the strike indicator. I'm gonna move it down just a hair because it looks like the water's pretty low. So I'm probably gonna be fishing about 1.5 feet. Got my strike indicator. And then above that I got a tractor ant. And then below that I'm running a 3mm tungsten copper john, all black. See how this works. Might be freezing up a little bit, but sometimes you run into trout here. I've heard of people, I've seen a rainbow caught out of here. I've heard of a couple browns being caught out of here. I was hoping what I can catch today. There's also, I mean, you can catch perch, bass, bluegill, all sorts of stuff. It's just a big creek. It's actually at a dam. Had something there. Oh, hung up on a tree. Hope I can catch at least one fish today. guys, that kind of does it for today's video. It was a little bit of a struggle out there. Not only is it, well, now it's 28 degrees, but the guides kept freezing up on me, so it made it nearly impossible to get that strike indicator. I hate those damn things. More than 20 feet out there. I was trying to get a little bit further than that so I could reach some of the holes in there, but I just couldn't get to them. Couldn't even let it drift through the guides because I was just getting caught up. My line was all iced up. I'll drop a little video of that here in a second. So this is what I was working with here. Every single guide, and it gets worse as it goes up. That just, it ain't gonna cut it. And then I don't know if the fish weren't there or just too cold now and they found a deeper hole somewhere else or what. I mean, it is halfway through December. We're in like middle winter, but I don't even know if that camera was on me at all. Sorry, I'm driving. But hopefully in the next video, might be more ice fishing related. If not, I might attempt it one more time and go to Middlebury next week with a buddy of mine and see if we can't throw some streamers and the little elk cart. But other than that, I appreciate you guys for watching and watching the tying tutorial, and sorry that I didn't catch any fish for you. But I'll see you next week. Have a good one.